Best Buy stock started tumbling. 60% it was down in 2012, and they brought in a new CEO. His name was Hubert Joly. And it was Hubert's goal not to figure out what was just going wrong with the company, but he wanted to figure out what was going right. What could we double down on? So he started to look at the performance of all of the Best Buys from all across the country, all across the United States, and he noticed there was one Best Buy just outside of Boston that was performing double digits better than the rest. Now here's what we need to know about Best Buy. Best Buy is a lot like a convenience store, right? They're all pretty much laid out exactly the same so that there is that familiarity when you walk in. So what could they have been doing just outside of Boston that permitted for a double-digit increase or improvement over every other store in the country? He wanted to figure it out. So he went over just outside of Boston. He did the whole undercover CEO thing, right? The hat and the glasses and the fake mustache. And he walked into the store expecting Costco samples or streamers and confetti or some slash sales or something like that. And he noticed that there was nothing different in this Best Buy. Everything looked like all of the other stores that he'd been to before. And so he wanted to figure out then why was it that the associates had slightly bigger smiles on their faces and were just slightly more inclined to be a little bit more helpful than he was used to. So he went up and talked to one of the associates. He said, "Excuse me, can I have a quick conversation with you?" And she said, "Sure." He said, "Hey, can you tell me, do you love your job? Do you love working here?" She said, "Yeah, actually I do. I really love working here. It's the best job I've ever had." He said, "That's amazing. Well, can I ask you a second question? What do you love about working here?" I'm going to take a quick time out on the story for a second, so just hold that there and tell you that I've asked this question about 5,000 times. What do you love about working here? And I got to tell you, when people love where they work, the response that I get is always the same, and it's always two words. When I ask the question, what do you love about working here? Why don't you tell me what they say back? That's right. In unison, the people. So sure enough, on time, we're back in the story. He said, "What do you love about working here?" She says, "The people." He said, "That's amazing. What is it about the people here that allow you to love your job so much?" He said, "Well, I feel like if I have an idea, somebody's listening. If I feel like I'm having a bad day, others are going to lift me up. If I feel like I'm having a great day, I can lift others up. I feel like I can just be fully me here, and I love that." He said, "Amazing. So what is it that you're actually doing here? What's the habit? What's the routine? What's the behavior that you're doing here that allows you to feel that way?" You know what she said? She said, "I don't know." Which tells me that whatever they had been doing over and over and over again was so routine, was so habitual that it didn't even stand out anymore. So Hubert thanked her for her time, left the store, and thought, I better figure out what's going on at this Best Buy here. So the next morning, he comes in at 9:30 before the gate opens. And now he's taking his hat and his glasses and his mustache off, and he wants to figure out what's happening at this Best Buy. And so he sees that everyone's in a huddle in the back of the store. And he goes to the back of the store. What the hell? Ladies and gentlemen, we got a squirrel in attendance this morning up in the front row. That is something I have never seen before, and we're going to remember that one forever. All right. Where were we? Gosh, talk about a show stealer, hey? Hey, Bill, you looking for your 10,000 steps today or what? We got a squirrel up on stage left. Anyways. Here he goes. Yeah, it's up by the water on the. Okay, let's go right back. Let's just make sure we've got everyone back. Hubert goes into the back of the store. He sees a huddle in the back of the store. And what he discovers is that the supervisors, whoever was on shift that day, turns out that the supervisors, he or she or they, would ask their associates one simple question every single day. And whoever was an associate on shift that day would have 15 to 30 seconds to respond to that question. Now, they could respond with the same answer they've always said, or they could bring a brand new response every day that they were working. It didn't matter. But the question, I'm hoping you remember this, was this. What is your dream, and how are we at Best Buy here to help you make that dream come true? And one by one, every one of the associates would respond to that question. One person said, I'm saving for my kid's college fund. Another person said, well, I've actually never been to college. I can't wait. I'm going to be the first one in my family. I'm going next September. You're helping me make that dream come true. Another person said that when I was 15 years old, I wanted to go to Disneyland more than anything in the world. And my family, well, we just couldn't afford it. And it was that day where I put my stake and I put my flag in the ground, and I said, one day I'm going to be that mother that takes her kids to Disneyland. So since that time, she'd been saving pennies in the piggy bank, a little bit of deposits in the bank, and finally, in February of that next year, she was going to take her husband and her 2 kids to Disneyland, making a lifelong dream come true. And what they found is that when they started to understand what folks were working towards outside of work, people at work were more inclined to help them make those dreams come true. They would hand over clients that might be a better fit to the problems that they could solve. And by sharing this little bit of understanding as to what people were working towards, what their goals were, all of a sudden this team came together and was more effective than any other store that Best Buy was operating. In fact, Hubert started to put that policy into all the Best Buys across the country and into the United States, and what he found is that when he put this practice in, people started to be more collaborative. They started to care a little bit more about each other. And over the next 6 years, the stock price jumped about 800%. Now, can we attribute it down to one question? No, but it is starting with a foundation of trust that is most important.